Give me the phone. You know the rules. Guys, don't try anything funny.
Her entire life revolved around one iPhone 16 Pro Max. But when it disappeared, everything came crashing down and the truth behind her glow was exposed. On campus, everyone knew her name, Adiz. She wasn't the brightest in class, nor the most hardworking, but she carried herself like royalty. Her crown? Not gold, not diamonds, an iPhone 16 Pro Max. While other students tapped nervously on cracked Android screens, Adiz's phone gleamed like a jewel. Its camera flashed at every lecture, every cafe, every corridor mirror. To her friends, it was proof of her status, a symbol that she lived above their struggles. And indeed, many envied her. What nobody knew was the truth. The phone had not been bought with her sweat. It was a gift, an offering from an older man she secretly dated. He promised her the world, and with every dinner, every late-night drive, Adiz believed him a little more. She felt untouchable, basking in the whispers. That's Adiz, the girl with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Pride filled her steps, and her smile was sharpened with confidence. But pride has a way of resting on fragile glass. And one evening, as she tried to call her man, the screen blinked a message she never expected. Number blocked. Messages undelivered. Calls ignored. Her lifeline to luxury was gone. Adiz stared at her glowing iPhone 16, the device that once made her untouchable. For the first time, it felt heavy in her hands, like a crown that could slip at any moment. Hello, besties. Welcome to Folktale Princess's channel. Tell us where you're watching from in the comment section to get a shout out from us. The silence was louder than any ringtone. For days, Adiz dialed his number, prayed for a reply, but all she met was emptiness. Her sponsor, the man who had fueled her glow, had vanished like smoke.
No explanations. No goodbyes.
Just silence. She walked across campus, but the whispers followed her like shadows. She only shines because of men. Without him, she's nothing. The words pierced deeper than knives. Adiz clutched her iPhone 16, holding it like a lifeline. Once it was the center of every gaze. But now the world was changing too fast. In lecture halls and on Instagram feeds, rumors spread. The iPhone 17 is out. Suddenly, the device in her hand no longer sparkled. What once made her a queen now looked outdated, almost pitiful. Every laugh she heard felt like mockery. Every glance seemed to say, "You're slipping." That night, unable to sleep, Adiz scrolled through Instagram. And there it was. Her rival, a girl she despised, posing with the brand new iPhone 17. The caption cut like a blade. Level up, Adiz. Adiz's hands shook as she stared at the glowing screen. Her crown was crumbling, and if she didn't rise, she would fall lower than ever before. Humiliation doesn't shout, it lingers. Every corner Adiz turned, she felt it waiting. The smirks in the cafeteria. The giggles in the library. Even the way strangers glanced at her phone made her skin burn. When she scrolled through TikTok, the obsession grew sharper. Influencers twirled, danced, and posed with the sleek new iPhone 17. Bright captions screamed, "Don't get left behind. Upgrade your life today." Each reel was a knife twisting in her chest. The girl who once shone brightest was fading into the background, her crown rusting in her very hands. She tried to shake it off, but humiliation became her shadow. Every laugh, every side-eye from classmates whispered the same truth. "You're slipping, Adiz. You're not enough." Late at night, staring at her cracked mirror, Adiz gripped her iPhone 16 so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her reflection was pale, but her eyes burned with quiet fire. With a trembling voice that carried more desperation than confidence, she whispered to herself, "I'll get it, by any means." When one door closed, Adiz went searching for another. But this time, there was no man to pick up her bills. Instead, her eyes landed on glowing ads flashing across her screen. Quick cash in minutes.
No que lateral.
No stress. It felt like destiny knocking. She clicked, and in less than 5 minutes, her details were filled in.
Name. Address.
Bank account. The app congratulated her with confetti animations. Loan approved. Warnings about brutal interest rates popped up, red and bold. Adiz scrolled past them. She didn't care. The only thing she saw was the balance now sitting in her account, enough to reclaim her throne. Her heart pounded as she tapped accept. Adiz didn't realize it then, but with that single signature, she wasn't just borrowing money. She was mortgaging her future. The next morning, Adiz's hands trembled as she tore open the glossy box. The iPhone 17 gleamed like a diamond, sleek and perfect, humming with power. The moment she stepped out with it, the world noticed. Selfies turned flawless. Her reels shimmered. Likes poured in like rainfall. Her followers doubled in days, and whispers of brand deals tickled her inbox. On campus, the same mouths that mocked her now praised her. The queen had returned to her throne, and Adiz bathed in the glow, forgetting the storm gathering behind her. That night, as she laid in bed smiling at her own reflection in the phone's glass, the screen lit up with a sharp ping. Push notification. Reminder. First repayment due in 7 days. The smile froze on her face. 7 days wasn't long, but for now, she told herself, I'll deal with it later. The glow of the iPhone 17 didn't last long. Barely 3 days after her grand return, the cracks began to show. Her notifications no longer sparkled with likes and comments. They filled with reminders. Repayment due soon. Settle your balance now. Final notice. She swiped them away, pretending not to see. But the flood kept coming, relentless, like a storm tide. Then, the whispers started again. Not envy this time, but pity. Classmates she had borrowed from pulled her aside. Adiz, where's our money? Some were polite, others less so. She smiled, lied, promised next week, but even her confidence was beginning to crack. The loan app grew more vicious. It wasn't just her screen anymore. Messages were sent to her contacts, her classmates, even distant relatives. Screenshots of her debt, threats laced in every line. And then came the call. Her mother's trembling voice. Adiz, why are strange people messaging me saying you owe them? What trouble have you brought into this house? Adiz's heart sank. The shame she feared most was now real. Her secret debt was no longer secret. That evening, as she sat staring at her glowing iPhone 17 with tears in her eyes, a new message appeared in her DMs. From a faceless account, only a black profile picture. Repay or we collect differently. Shame is heavy, but pride is heavier. And Adiz refused to let anyone see her crumble. So when the flyers for a campus party spread, she showed up dressed in her finest. Her nails glistened, her hair was laid, and in her hand, like a trophy, shone the iPhone 17. On the dance floor, she posed, pouted, and snapped selfies. The crowd cheered her name, her Instagram lit up with stories. For a moment, she drowned her fear in music, lights, and attention. But the higher the music climbed, the wilder the crowd became. Bodies pressed close, laughter roared. The DJ cut the lights for a dramatic beat drop. Darkness swallowed the hall for just a second. And in that second, a hand slipped into Adiz's bag. When the lights flared back on, she reached instinctively for her phone. Her fingers closed on nothing but air. The iPhone 17, her crown, her shield, her illusion was gone. Panic clawed at her throat. She screamed, shoved, searched. Security shrugged lazily. Phones get stolen every day. Sorry, miss. Her friends rolled their eyes. Just buy another one, Adiz. But they didn't understand. She hadn't just lost a phone. She had lost her lifeline, her debt, her image, her everything. Hours later, back in her room, Adiz's chest tightened when she saw her Instagram light up. New posts. New stories. Taken with her phone. Someone else was now living through her lens. Then came the DM. If you want your phone back, pay double. Her hands shook as she read it over and over. Before she could breathe, another blow struck. Her WhatsApp groups exploded with messages, screenshots, and shame. The loan app had blasted her name across every corner of her social circle. Warning: Adiz is a debtor. Avoid her. Alone in the dark, Adiz stared at her empty hands. She wasn't just slipping anymore. She was falling fast. On campus, Adiz's name no longer shimmered with envy. Now it was carried on mocking lips, dressed in ridicule. Borrowed beauty, they whispered behind her back. Stolen crown, others laughed aloud. The same people who once stretched their necks to see her selfies now pointed at her, as if she were a street play. Screenshots of her debt flew across group chats. Memes were made with her face. Her influencer glow had turned into the campus joke of the week. But it didn't end there. The loan app thugs, men with dark eyes and harsher voices, found their way to her mother's little vegetable stall by the roadside. "Where is your daughter?" they barked, their shadows covering the tiny table of tomatoes and onions. Her mother, trembling, begged them to leave. But they tipped over the baskets, crushing food under their boots. "Tell Adiz, she pays or you will." When her mother called her later, her voice broken with fear, Adiz finally cracked. She fell to the floor of her room, sobbing, her world collapsing around her. The iPhone 17 was gone. Her reputation was gone. Even her family's peace had been ripped away. She had climbed too high on lies, and now she was crashing to the ground with no one to catch her. In her darkest hour, she dragged herself to the office of the one person who had once seen promise in her, a lecturer who had praised her intelligence in class before she became addicted to appearances. She collapsed into the chair opposite him, tears streaking her face, and whispered, "Sir, it's all a lie. Everything. I borrowed, I pretended, and now it's destroying me." The lecturer looked at her, not with judgment, but with a quiet sadness that cut deeper than any insult. Guidance came slowly, not like lightning, but like dawn. The lecturer connected her with a campus support program. For the first time in months, Adiz faced her problems head-on. She took a small job at a cafe near school, wiping tables, earning little but earning honestly. She sold the last of her valuables, shoes, handbags, accessories she had once flaunted online. Piece by piece, she began to repay the debt that had chained her. It wasn't easy. Every day felt like walking barefoot across stones. But in that pain, she found something real: strength. Her Instagram transformed too. The glossy selfies and fake captions disappeared. Instead, she posted raw, honest stories about debt traps, about the dangers of chasing status, about surviving when the world laughs at you. And strangely, people listened. Her followers didn't vanish, they grew. Not because she dazzled, but because she was finally real. Other students messaged her privately, confessing they too had borrowed to impress. Some even thanked her. "Your stories saved me from the same mistake." Adiz, the girl who once wore a fake crown, was slowly becoming something greater: a voice, a warning, a guide. One evening, after finishing her shift, she sat at the bus stop with a simple second-hand phone in her palm. No triple camera, no sleek body, no spotlight. Just an ordinary phone that she had bought with her own sweat. She smiled. And softly, she spoke to herself, a vow for her future. "Better a phone I earned than a crown I begged and borrowed for." The night air carried her words, and for the first time, Adiz's glow came not from glass or screens, but from within. Adiz thought the iPhone 17 Pro Max would be her crown. She borrowed, she risked, she sacrificed, all for a glow she couldn't sustain. But in the end, the shine faded. What remained was the lesson. It's better to own little with dignity than to borrow much and lose yourself in shame. She learned the hard way that true worth doesn't come from what you hold in your hand, but from what you carry in your heart. If this story touched you, don't just scroll away. Like this video, share it with someone who needs the reminder, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Because every story has a lesson, and every lesson could change a life.